I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment this covenant. I will respect the hard-won scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledge as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply for the of the sick all measures that are required, avoiding those twin traps of overtreatment and therapeutic nihilism. I will remember that there is an art to medicine as well as science, and that warmth, sympathy, and understanding may outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say, I know not, nor will I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for the patient's recovery. I will respect the privacy of my patients, for their problems are not disclosed to me that the world may know. Most especially must I tread with care in matters of life and death. It is given to me to save a life, all thanks, but it may also be within my power to take a life. This awesome responsibility must be faced with great humbleness and awareness of my own frailty. Above all, I must not play at God. I'm sure you guys have heard this story, the story of Dr. Christopher Dunch, aka Dr. Death. It's an awful story. I do not know how this happened in this day and age. It was so bad at one point that some of the doctors who saw him operating, they thought he was an imposter. They thought that there's no way this guy could have been trained in today's society of rigorous medical training. Somehow, he graduated from both a top-tier residency and a fellowship. It comes out that during that whole time, even with all of our ACGME requirements, he only did about 100 cases during his residency, and someone thought that was okay. And someone passed on, he took that Hippocratic oath, and we see the results. This is highly upsetting to me. It makes me sick. We are physicians, right? And every time we teach somebody now, it's different than teaching a regular high school class or even a college class. Everything that we teach or overlook can have real implications on the patients that we're supposed to serve and protect. So when I read this book, Make It Stick, I come at it from the students that I encounter every day. These medical students and residents who are high achieving individuals, and for the most part, they figured out how to study, right? I also recall when I taught 8th grade in an inner city Houston school. That was the toughest year of my life, and these kids demonstrated clearly that the current system and protocol of teaching does not work and is highly inefficient. So this is a fantastic book that should certainly be read by any teacher and really anybody who plans to learn anything the rest of your life. Chapter 5 really spoke to me, especially when I think about the story of Dr. Death. It talks about illusions of knowing and poor judgment and insight. One of the quotes here says, "One problem with poor judgment is we usually don't know when we've got it." Also, we're pretty prideful, right? As physicians, we love to know things. We like to think probably we're smarter than the average doodle, and we classically tend to overstate our confidence. I think part of this is growing up. Think back when you were a resident or an intern and your first time handling a situation, you think you did a pretty good job, just to find out later that there was a whole nother scenario that you weren't even considering, right? Dr. Death, part of it was his fault. He didn't know how truly awful he was. It talks about during the trial when an expert surgeon came in and demonstrated the wrong things he did step by step. That probably was the first time he actually accepted how bad he was. But someone failed him. Someone failed to take action because it's too easy to overlook things, right? It talks about how we do not like to give negative feedback, and it's effort and work, but we have to do that as mentors and physicians. I'm sure by this point, you're probably depressed. It's been a little bit dark so far, but I'm on call, so there you go. But there's one principle I thought was really inspiring, very uplifting. It was the Carol Dweck principle. And this is the teaching that when students succeed, we have to show them it's because of the hard work that they put in. Because if they think it's solely because of their intelligence, when they get a harder problem, they may not put in the work or the effort to accomplish. I think this can be applied to any student, which is beautiful. I've definitely seen this in my life. I am not the smartest one in the group. Just ask Pritchett, he'll attest to it loud and wide, but it's worked. And again, this is just one technique in this great book. And this book has so many more techniques which will be so useful, again, for any learner and certainly for any teacher. It's an easy read, short book, well referenced. Take the time. It will help you for the rest of your life. Happy reading, and thanks for watching.